Barracuda is an organization that's got portfolio of products. We cater to customers across verticals and across various sizes. We have solutions that cater to the email platform. So we call it as email protection solutions that we have. We have solutions that cater to the application, securing the application that's actually on the web, the web applications. And we also have solutions that caters to network security. We also have solution that looks at web filter, that's basically looking at the traffic that goes onto the internet. We have just acquired a company which is into the ZTNA market. So we also now look at secure network access for organizations, because as time goes by, I think we will see many customers, employees working from remote. And I think secure network access is going to become very critical, which is already a multi-billion-dollar market globally. So we cater into these markets. We also, our products are obviously available on-premise, it's available for virtual, and most of our solutions now are available as SaaS model and on public cloud. So this is what we have to offer. When it comes to specific platforms on email protection, we do email security, we do email backup, we do email archiving, we do, and the human element of email, which is called the training. We also do security training for people who use email. So that's the overall email protection we have, apart from also doing forensic and analysis of when threats actually come into organizations and you want to look at, do an analysis about the breach that has happened. So actually look at even forensic and analysis as well. Plus, on the web applications, we look at the public cloud where the new movement is happening. I think most organizations or many organizations are now looking at moving their applications on the public cloud. That includes Amazon, Google, as well as Microsoft, and our solutions, which are basically the web application firewall and the network security the piece, which is available on all the three platforms. It's available, they are listed on the marketplace, and customers can actually work with us on that particular cloud, whichever they choose. So broadly, this is where we play in. These are the products we have on the different form factors customers can actually use our solutions. I think people didn't have a choice. Let's be honest about it. I think when the country went into a lockdown way back in March, I think organizations didn't have a choice but to adapt to the new way of working. And I think it did take some time for organizations to adapt, because I think it was overnight a decision that was made to protect the citizens of the country, where we just said we're not going to go to office, but organizations had to move. So the IT teams in every company, I think, had to grapple with how, where, how, when, and with whom. I think that was a challenge they had to actually address. Whatever interactions we have had with customers and with partners, I think the Indian customers were pretty good enough, and also their employees were pretty good enough to adapt into the new scenario that actually cropped up after the lockdown happened. And they were quick to move. And I think a lot of technologies which were not being touched upon, as we were discussing a couple of minutes ago, the secure network access, VPN connections, which were not being used too much. I think the web security solutions, which were taken for granted, I think they all suddenly became very prominent. And I think that was where the quick adoption happened from a security standpoint. And I think, Rajani sir, you are in the market, and you know the laptop people, the vendors who are actually into the laptop business, I think were the ones who are in the highest demand, because laptop was needed by everybody who, even though they had a desktop in office, they had to be given a laptop to work from wherever they're going to work from. So that was the adoption we saw. And the other thing, I think, as time moved, customers started looking at cloud. I think they suddenly realized physical data centers can be a challenge if we don't have either a pure cloud model, or at least have a hybrid model where people can start looking at applications and data which can be accessed from the cloud. I think that adoption was very quick. We saw a significant increase in that particular adoption. I think we did a study. I think we have the data, which is not with me offhand, but we did see a significant increase in adoption of cloud-based platforms, whether it could be Azure, it could be Amazon, which are very popular in India. And that adoption happened very quickly. And the third thing that actually customers started adopting, which Barracuda found it very interesting, was how to start securing your email platform. I think because that was the most vulnerable application, or that was the most easiest threat that was getting hijacked by the hackers, because people were no longer inside the fixed infrastructure where they could be protected by the perimeter security that normally organizations used to have. Suddenly you had people accessing emails using handheld devices, probably tablets or from laptops, which probably were not secure. And email became a very easy carrier for hackers to actually use to get into networks. So we saw a massive surge in requests or inquiries for how to protect emails, and that there was not just email security from spam or malware or ATPs. It also included how do I actually secure my email from data loss. So it included backing up the data that was there on emails or on the email platform, archiving emails so people wouldn't lose emails because they were no longer in the physical infrastructure, somebody to help them. So archiving of emails became critical, and behavior of employees. I think many customers we saw were looking at tools so they could help their employees adapt to the new norm of how hackers work, so that people are becoming, could be made aware about how emails should be treated. So these are the things that automatically started becoming in demand. And I think organizations did start adopting to these technologies very quickly. And I personally believe we've done it pretty well. I think the Indian organizations cutting across verticals, I think they adopted it pretty quickly and pretty well. That's my take. I haven't found any customer or partner who's told that it became a hindrance. No, they made it into an opportunity and to try out something new, and I think they've done it pretty well. Every cloud provider gives a very, very important statement to customers. It's called as the difference between, the customer need to understand the difference between security off the cloud and security in the cloud. Off the cloud part is actually the responsibility of the platform provider. It could be any platform provider, so that's their responsibility. But once the customer starts using the platform, what goes into the platform in terms of virtual machines, databases, applications, that responsibility is the customer's. It is not 100% with the platform service provider. So that's where vendors like Barracuda come in, and we help customers to look at that particular responsibility which is given to them, which is protecting the security in what is in the cloud. So in the cloud part is where we play, where we have solutions for protecting networks, the virtual networks they create, the VLANs they create, the VNets they create. We have solutions called a cloud generation firewall, where we have these products available in the marketplace of all the three popular vendors. And it's also available as pay as you go. The customers can choose whether they want to do pay as you go or bring your own license. So we give both the options to them. So the customers have to look at what suits them best to protect the infrastructure that's they're going to build on the public cloud. And the good thing with Barracuda, I think, is with network security vendors on the public cloud is we cut across platform. It's not just we protect Azure, we protect only Google, or we protect only AWS. We cut across platforms. We also even, in fact, give enough flexibility for them to manage everything from a single console. So it doesn't matter how many virtual machines you have on Azure, how many virtual machines you have on Google or on AWS, all of them can be protected from a single console. The same thing works for web application firewall. Even though the native security vendors, native cloud vendors have their default application security, customers are always looking at a security that helps them protect their application beyond the platform vendors. Primarily because what we have seen is there is definitely a sort of a gap between what the platform vendors offer and what actually is needed. So that's where Barracuda comes in. Our solutions are probably one of the best when it comes to public cloud platform. The consumption is phenomenally very high. For example, on Azure, we are clocking almost, I think, 4 to 6 million hours a month of usage. That's phenomenal amount of consumption that's happening on Azure itself. So we are seeing a very increased usage of public cloud across verticals. Some of them are small, some of them are big. It is also hybrid. So our solutions work on-premise, virtual, as well as in cloud. So customers can choose based on their comfort factor whether they want to go 100% public cloud, which I think will happen in the next few years in India as well. But now they can have a mix of some on public cloud, some on managed services platform, and some could be on on-premise solutions. So we have solutions across, and we can work with customers no matter whatever model they're working on. Rajnish, initially the CISOs, according to whatever we have seen, were focused on infrastructure redeployment, right? Because I think starting the work from home was something that came out of nowhere, and they obviously had to focus on securing the work from home infrastructure. So the initial focus was more on remote access, secure VPNs, secure access to their applications. So I think that took some time from the CISOs to ensure that is deployed. We actually did see quite a lot of our core security vendors being very busy in the first few months of the pandemic, because their solutions were catering to different kind of security requirement for which the CISOs were looking at. But as things settled down from an infrastructure standpoint, I think they started looking at the performance, the deliverables of the applications that were there, whether it was email, whether it was the application themselves, the applications used by the organizations, or it could also be things like securing the data so that there's no data loss, because our employees were no longer working in the behind perimeter security, which is normally there in every company. So this attention slowly moved to secure these kind of infrastructure. And as cloud adoption started, CISOs also started looking at solutions that are available on public cloud, both as a SaaS model or as a pay-as-you-go or even as a BYOL. So I think that's where the CISOs actually looked at. But having said that, I think it was tough for a first couple of months, probably in the first three months. And I think they did adapt pretty well to get a grip of it, then streamline what were the priorities that needs to be looked at first, and then look at what comes later. Yes, I think cloud did see a huge impetus because of this, and vendors like us did see a major push into what we could offer to the customers, and CISOs did start looking at cloud as a cloud security as a very, very important thing they need to focus on. And probably in the coming year, we will, I think, see a pretty big increase in the budgets for cloud, public cloud security platform. So we are expecting things to increase there as well when we move into rollover into FY22. ITS verticals were the first to move very quickly, right? I think they were the ones who got probably very large manpower. They're in the services sector. They had to move very quickly to do this. And many of these ITS verticals not just cater to customers outside India, they also cater to customers in India as well. So they were the ones who actually moved very quickly, and obviously the much bigger number. I think the next one to move was the BFSI sector, which had to run because that was an essential service for the country. They had to continue running that particular entire vertical. The entire BFSI industry had to continue because the country's economy had to keep moving. So they were the second ones to, I think, move very quickly. ITIT probably takes the cake in terms of moving quickly because decisions are faster and I think the numbers are larger. But I think, but given the fact that BFSI is such an integral part of the economy, they also adopted pretty well. They moved very fast. Yes, manufacturing had to take a longer time, primarily because that was a policy adopted by the government as well. As we all knew, manufacturing did take a longer time to restart. So they took a little longer to adopt into the new scenario. even though the administration work, the accounting work, the finance work, the HR work moved into the new scenario very quickly, even in the manufacturing vertical. The real change, I think, started coming up when the production was, put back into action to whatever extent each vertical found it interesting. Then I think came the other industries like advertising and hospitality. I think we still do see as a challenge. We don't see hospitality industry moving as quickly as we used to see them move before, and I think that's there. That's obvious. I think that's where the economy is, and we will see some more. We will see, I think, some more time being needed to get the hospitality industry back on track. But as I said, it's ITITS first. Second was BFSI. I think third was manufacturing. Yes, somewhere the government also had to adopt. The government sector did adapt pretty well. Unfortunately, we don't play big in the government sector, so we didn't know how quickly they did move in there. But fact is, yes, ITITS, BFSI, and the manufacturing were very quick to get to its particular mode. Yes, so our solutions are designed to cater to every section of the pyramid. Either it could be SMB, it could be low mid-market, upper mid-market, small enterprise, mid-level enterprises. We cater to everyone. We did see a pretty big push in many organizations in the around the 200 users to 150 to 300 user category as well, because I think when the phishing attacks increased significantly in the month of July, August, I think it went up by almost 70%, if I remember very well, 70 to 80%. I think the SMB was also one of the prime target markets. The phishing attacks were happening. So we did see a significant increase in demand, even in the segment where the number of users are only 150 to 200 to 300 users. The thing is, the market which we are in is very, very interesting from Barracuda and has got very high potential. Because as things move forward, we will see that the market will look at security as a very, very big investment area. As cloud adoption becomes more, as remote users will become a norm, I think security will see a phenomenal importance being given by customers. And I think adoption of cloud is going to increase, as we've all seen. And I'm sure, Rajnish, you're talking to many other OEMs like us, and they also would be they would have expressed the same sentiments about cloud adoption. So I think Barracuda, we as an organization, we see ourselves positioned extremely very well in multiple places. For example, in the email security market, this market is total addressable market is around 2.3 billion, growing at a compounded rate of almost 21 to 22% year on year. So we are in the right market there. You look at the cloud backup, that market is worth around $2.5 billion, growing at a compounded rate of another 25%. So again, our solutions are one of the best vendors, best solutions we have, and I think we're the top vendor when it comes to cloud backup. The third, I think, a very important segment is the security awareness, as I mentioned, which is growing at a whooping 42% compounded growth rate. And as of now, the market estimates is around $600 million that's there, right? And then the next one that's slated to become, which is already there, but we're not focusing on email, is the incident response. That's, as of now, stands at $2.5 billion market, growth rate, expected growth rate of 16%. So if you look at the market we are in, Barracuda, we are in the right position to help our partners and also to address our customers. Added to that, we just, as I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation, we are now going to play a very important role in the secure access network, which is again a multi-billion-dollar market growing very quickly. I think we are going to see a significant request or uptake on that particular technology in India as the new year rolls in and customers start looking at budget. I think secure network access is going to become very important. I think that's another market we will be playing a significant role when we roll into next year. I'll give you an example about email, of how email is used when I'm in the office, or how email is used if somebody is at home, right? So when we are in the office, we don't have other disturbances, which is personal. We always are, most of them focused on our work. We know what email is coming in. We probably take a time to respond back, and we respond to mostly genuine emails. But if we're going to do remote work, which probably will become a norm going forward, I think the challenge of how we address emails automatically comes into play. Let's look at somebody who's a very important person in the company, who's from the finance department, having a small child at home, which needs to be attended to because they are at home, and they need to obviously give the time as required. So if there is a phishing email that comes in which says you need to approve a payment of X thousand dollars, and the mail looks genuine, if I'm disturbed by my domestic issues, which is happening at that moment, I might just approve that email even without thinking who's the sender of that email. So training, and this could happen even when somebody is working from the office. It's not just when somebody works from home. It could also, but I think it becomes more prevalent when somebody works from remote. So training becomes very, very important. And in training, you know how things are. It's not just one training. You need to keep repeating it because we tend to forget what we learn because that's how we are. So the customers are looking at tools where they can keep recurring training going, probably minimum at once a quarter. A good situation is probably twice a quarter, but which actually caters to the operation that particular person is, because as I mentioned, the behavior of an accounting person is different from finance different is from marketing is from sales from the C-level people. So awareness is going to become very important. And we are, as of now in Barracuda, focused on email. We are handling behavior. I'm sure the other aspects of an IT infrastructure also needs awareness training about how to access applications, probably browsers, or which websites to access. I think those themselves also have their own awareness issues that needs to be brought in for employee behavior. But Barracuda as a company, we focus on email behavior and action when we actually talk to customers. The tools that we provide obviously has templates, which are obviously editable. You can edit those templates to customize your requirement. And these templates, again, as I mentioned, is designed for each specific work group in an organization. The templates are not universal for everybody in the company. They are classified under different working groups in a company. Apart from this, Barracuda, we offer concierge services where customer can sign up with Barracuda to run specific campaigns inside their organization. It could be one campaign per quarter, it could be 2 campaigns per quarter, or even 3 campaigns per quarter based on their requirement. And these campaigns can be targeted to specific employees of the company. It could be based on departments. It could be based on age groups. It could be based on however the HR and the IT feels it necessary. We could run those campaigns. We set up these campaigns. We design these campaigns. We create new templates for them so that it looks more genuine for the employees to log in. And our tools, after the concierge service also gets involved in pulling out data about how many people actually fell prey to this particular simulation attack we did, how many people need training, or how many hours of training they need to attend. Then the training modules are monitored. How many did people actually attend the training very well? Did they take it in all seriousness? Did they complete all the tests that were given? All this is customizable, and our concierge service will help you in creating those templates so that it's more focused on your organization behavior than just using a template that's given by the product. Yeah, so the market that Barracuda is in is a very broad portfolio market because we are not one vendor, one security technology company like many of our competitors are, because we range from email security to now zero secure access network. So we have the entire gamut from even security, application security to web security to firewalls to the secure access. So each of these domains bring in their own competitors. So each competitor has a different kind of a challenge that we will have to address, or they bring, or we take to them. But from a partner standpoint, I think one great thing that Barracuda gives them is the portfolio. If they start partnering with us, we give them the opportunity to sell to many customers with the solutions we have, or to the same customer with the many solutions we have. So that's one biggest USP we bring in for partners. Two, I think our retention ratio of our technology is very high. Our renewal rates are as good as 95 to 97% retention. So that means the annuity business of partners will have with Barracuda is close to 95 to 97%. That means they're rest assured that 95 to 97% of the customers who buy Barracuda products through them will give them recurring business year after year. So that's a significant, USP for most of our partners. The third is, I personally believe we are the only vendor in the market who doesn't sell a single dollar of transaction to any customer directly, whether it's renewals or whether it is new business. We don't sell. We are 100% channel company. That's the reason we've got, even 2020, we got the best channel award from CRN in the EMEA region. So we are a significantly very focused channel company, which many partners raise concerns, when other OEMs have a challenge about, hey, we did this transaction, but the next transaction we were in a little bit of a weak wicket for whatever reason. But with Barracuda, no. We are very channel focused, 100% channel oriented, giving them a broad portfolio to focus on, and also helping them retain customers, which helps them get annuity business. So these are the big USPs Barracuda brings to a partner. So the fact is, yes, many customers had to enhance their purchase in the first 1-2 quarters itself, instead of keeping it till the fag end of the year when they normally spend, right? Because the requirement was that they had to do it immediately. That's one part. Second, I think I'm sure many customers had to go back to the drawing board or to the boards and say, we need more money, either we need more money, or we're going to reallocate from one bucket to the other, because security is going to become very critical as we allow people to work from remote. And the third, I think, is which is playing a lot on most of the business that's happening, is the control of the CFO. I think the control of the CFO has gone up very high. Even though we all knew that it was pretty significant even before the pandemic, but I think after the pandemic, with budgets becoming tighter, where CapEx, OpEx expenditure is being monitored even more closely, I think the CFO started playing a very significant role. No matter whatever the size of the transaction, small, big, didn't matter. I think every transaction had to go through the CFO's lens. There would be micro examination of each of these projects, spending, ROI, TCO, recurring spending if needed, FY22, FY23, all those questions started coming up, which many a times we would not hear. I think that those things played a big role in spending by the company. And I think it's already the foundation has been set what to expect next year, the year after, and we are seeing a sample of it in the year that's going to get over in the next couple of months. I wouldn't say it's more of a complementary. I would say it would rather be a situational requirement that we work with other security vendors. We have worked before, and we have won deals also together. It probably could be when vendor A is strong and they don't want their competitor, who's vendor B, who's offering a particular technology which vendor A doesn't carry. So they will need a vendor like Barracuda to work with them to help them, close a particular project. We have done that, and I think that's something that will continue, because I don't think anybody has got the best of breed in everything they do. So there is always a mismatch or fulfillment gap many vendors see in what they are offering, and we do end up working with some vendors, some other security OEMs to fulfill a particular project or for a particular tender. We have done that before, and I think we will see that also happening in the future. It's not an easy question to answer, because I think they need both. If they want the best of breed, they need to spend money, and if they don't spend money, they don't get the best of breed. So which is a catch-22 for them. But the fact is, I think matured customers will look for the best of breed and push the OEMs down to the price, obviously somewhere a middle path on the prices. But I think the people who have in the lower segment are okay with number 2, number 3 as well, as long as it meets their requirement. That's what we have seen. So it's a mixed match, give and take kind of a market we are seeing. But all depends on how FY22 rolls out and how the budgets come out. But I think this year has made everybody's budgets go topsy-turvy, right? Because whatever they wanted to use in March, probably they used up in September. Whatever they thought they will use in September probably has been pushed to next year. So we don't know how things will pan out when the new budgets are being discussed. But security is definitely going to get a big fillip going forward. See, the fact is that change is the only constant. I think we have seen that, and it happened overnight. Whether we want it or not, that's the only constant, right? Channel partners will have to learn to adopt and focus their business on the changing scenario. I think the skill set, enhancement, changing the way you work, your thought process has to be in demands of the market. I think otherwise, we have seen many partners who are very good, having not been successful now. Some of them who are not successful before, but they adopted very quickly and have actually emerged as significant players in the market. So change is something that people need to adapt to, and always be watcher, on the lookout of what change is coming and how do we adapt quickly. Next is the utility will continue to be there as long as they're able to adapt to the changing times. If they don't adopt, their utility will actually keep diminishing in front of the customers. So it's very important for them to be ready to adapt to the changing times. The need is to, very, very important part is to upskill, upgrade, and upsell the kind of solutions they have to the customers they have, and also to the market they're actually selling into. If they don't do upskill, upgrade, and upsell, the partners are going to find it very, very difficult to survive going forward, because it's evolving very quickly. Only the thing the partners can actually do now is change the business tactics. Whatever plan they have had last year or the year before, or whatever they would have had for FY22, probably needs a relook. Go back to the drawing board, explore where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, what the market opportunity is, where the gaps are, try to fill it up. SaaS model, cloud is going to be the future. And I think people who adapt to this are the ones who are going to be successful and grow very quickly and really make use of the opportunity. And that's, I think, where the channel is going to be. End customers, yes, I don't think they would have expected to look at services-based industries so strongly. Many customers whom we used to meet where cloud was a no-no is now becoming a point of discussion. And I think we will see adoptions in the cloud in many organizations, many verticals which were being stonewalled, opening up at least for discussions, partial adoption, or even full adoption going forward from this year. But yes, the concerns will continue to be there. Customers' biggest concern of moving to cloud will be security. It has always been for the past few years. It will continue to be there. And I think it's up to vendors like Barracuda to educate them, give them the confidence, help them choose the right platform, help them choose the right solutions, and deploy the way it is to be deployed to have a more secure environment. Pandemic or no pandemic, the hackers had a great time. They didn't have a holiday. They found this actually as an opportunity to and actually become more rich. So this is going to continue even for FY22. Things are not going to change. The way it changed to the pandemic situation so quickly, we're not going to go back to the pre-pandemic at the same speed. We'll take a much longer time to go back to that particular scenario. So customers will have to look at new ways of enhancing the infrastructure, with obviously looking at security as a very, very important aspect. If needed, increasing budgets, both in terms of spending on technology and skill set internally. I think customers will have to look at from a security standpoint very, 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 say, in a very focused way in the next couple of years at least.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.